Now we're going to go ahead and create Marin Street as our next road, and by doing so we're going to be creating an intersection with Sydney Court. So to get started off with, we're going to head to the alignments, right click on Marin Street and click on Create Road. We're going to leave all of the values as they are, just leaving the template as the 24-foot residential, and we're going to click OK. The vertical grading editor will automatically be displayed for Marin Street, and as we've explored in previous sessions, we're able to go in and start to change the vertical design. One key addition to this particular vertical design is that we now can see the connection to Sydney Court, and if we change the vertical exaggeration in this window to say 5, we can actually see that a little bit clearer. What we're also going to do now, because we now have that intersection, is see how that intersection is happening with Sydney Court by opening up the vertical design. So I'm going to right click on Sydney Court, vertical grading editor. And we'll just put these two together so we can see what's happening. We'll also change the vertical exaggeration of Sydney Court to 5 as well. There we go. I'll just zoom in. So what's now happening is the software has automatically found the edge of travelway code on Sydney Court and made a connection to it. Let's now see what happens if we move Marin Street up and down. So Marin Street is the main road. So we're going to use one of the little freehand IP moving tools here to move that up and down. As we do that, automatically the software is adjusting Sydney Court. The main road is Marin Street, it's in control. The side road is Sydney Court and is being adjusted as we make those changes. So I'm making changes to this point here. What we're not doing is removing the edge of travelway, because ultimately the connection from Sydney Court to Marin Street would not be to the centre line, it would be to the edge of travelway. So that code is being maintained. So it's important that when you create your templates with Corridor Easy that you always stick with the ETW code as your first code from the centre line. Now let's close down, let's actually just make a small adjustment here. Let's now close down the vertical grading editor for Marin Street. There's one further aspect of this that we need to explore, and that is the addition of a vertical curve that is being applied to the start of Sydney Court, which was not there before. Now if I go up to the Delete PI button and click, you'll notice that we are prompted to, we're basically prompted that it's protected. Well, if we say yes, we want to delete it, that IP is constantly redrawn. There is no way we can edit it either. If I try and edit the IP, we're unable to edit it. So let's have a look at where this comes from and why it's there and how we actually go about editing it. We're going to close down the vertical grading editor. So first of all, we're going to right click on the name of the drawing and click on Drawing Settings. And then in there, we're going to go to the Road Details tab. Now in the Road Details tab, we can see that whenever we have a side road matching, that a PVI will be created at 35 feet with a vertical curve length of 70. This is exactly what we were seeing on Sydney Court, and in a cut and a fill situation this is always being applied. So this is the master control. If we say no at this point, this will not impact any existing road intersections. We have to manually go in and change those, but going forward this parabolic curve ease, as it's called, or automatic ease, will not be applied. We're actually going to leave it as yes. We can also, don't forget, we can change these values if we want to, so that it is created but of values of our choosing. Let's now have a look at how we can override them individually. So to do this, we're going to go to the Network Strings pull down and click Automatic Ease Properties. This form allows us to go in and override or edit and change the control of individual roads. So in this case with Sydney Court, we're saying that any intersection that occurs within 60 feet of the start of Sydney Court to always, in cut and fill, apply a vertical curve length of 70 at an IP that's sitting just beyond 35 feet. Now if you don't want that to happen, you can simply switch the always to never. Now don't forget, you can have an intersection at the other end of the road as well, so we may decide if that was to happen we don't want the vertical curve being applied there either, and all we do is we click OK. Now if we open up the vertical design of Sydney Court, we've now got the opportunity to actually go in and edit this. So if I click Delete PI, yes, we want to delete it, and now it's permanently gone. Okay, any edits we make to the road now, that vertical curve will not be displayed. If we want to reinstate it, we can close the form down, click on Automatic Ease Properties, and then in there we simply change the never to always. And what this will now do is it will force that curve to be drawn back in to give us that transition from the intersection back into the design. So if we now go right click on Sydney Court, vertical grading editor, and then simply all we're going to do is hit the refresh button. The refresh button will re-engage the automatic ease and force that curve to be drawn. Let's now close this form down and have a look at how we can begin to create the curve returns.